Hello and welcome back to another episode of the FQ Show. We're up to episode 12 here, and I'm joined here by Tash and Dan, who are back after a week off sick last week, as was the man behind the camera, Connor. Tash and Dan, how are we today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, good to be back, Cal.
Feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better. It's good to see you back, mate. You haven't also been here. Remember the last episode we filmed?
Yeah, true.
You weren't here. So welcome back, mate.
Yeah. Taking a bit of R&R and visiting the sites of Fraser Island. So it was nice to have a break. So
fantastic.
It was good.
No football over there.
No football.
Plenty of dingoes.
Kick around with the dingoes, mate. Yeah. For this episode, we don't actually have a special guest on, as apart from us here. Special,
we are
obviously,
special, right?
We don't have a different guest on today, and that's because we're going to be reviewing the season so far. We're at the halfway point of pretty much all of our competitions here in Queensland, so we thought we'd give all of the competitions a good sort of detailed rundown and see how some of our pre-season predictions went. We had Campbell on as the very first episode of the show with you and I, Dan.
We did.
And went through a couple of predictions there, and we had Dave De Silva come on to talk about the women's competitions as well. So
yep.
I'd be interested to see how some of their predictions are holding up as well. And also, since we missed the show last week, we've got to check in on the results for the past sort of 2 weeks. And Australia Cup, Kappa Women's Super Cup, it's all coming together.
It is, yeah. All coming to the pointy and the penultimate part of the qualifying phases, and we go into the round of 32 within the month. So pretty exciting times ahead for those that are still left in the Australia Cup. And then for the Kappa Women's Super Cup, we're down to our final regional women's qualifier, which will obviously see Clinton play Edge Hill. And then we're down to the final three, I guess as we'll call them, quarterfinals, because there's three of them left in Brisbane, or SEQ rather.
Yep. Yeah, fantastic. So let's cover off the weekend just gone. Gold Coast Knights getting a surprise win over Peninsula Power. Penn Power went up 1-0 and Gold Coast Knights got a red card, but Christian Baimora, fantastic game from him with the 2 goals and one very late in the game as well. Saw that, Dan?
Yeah, I did. Christian grabbed the winner in the 90, I think it was about the 92nd minute. Yeah. Took a deflection, not to take anything away from Christian, but took a deflection off the boot of one of the Power, I think it was Josh Willie's left boot off the defender and just managed to evade Phil Zabaks, and it got them the 2-1 win. And it actually gives Gold Coast Knights a little bit of separation on the table from Power now. I know they're actually sitting mathematically behind by a point, but they do have a couple of games in hand. Yeah. So it'll probably be an interesting one. It's sort of consolidated, as we know, those 4 teams in the top 4 as it stands at the moment. With Gold Coast United, I won't touch that yet, but sort of chomping away at the bit in 5th. Yeah.
And Penn Power, they had a late equaliser against Lions as well the week before, so an interesting result there for them. Lions' first non-win in a while. So
yeah, swings and roundabouts there for Power. Obviously, they, as you said, they sort of got a result in the end against Lions, a loss now against Knights, and they've obviously got the round of 32 in between for last week against they Gold Coast United down at Coplix on the Tuesday night in the cold. Managed to get a 2-1 extra time winner there, and then obviously now we go into a round of 32 fixture they'll have this week against Roadshow too.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Tash, the Lions-Brisbane City game caught your eye. Any one particular player within that game?
Oh, well, 2 red cards in 35 minutes. Definitely caught my eye when I got on the stream there. I was like, what happened? What did I miss? I didn't realise so much drama would be happening in the first half. But obviously the red card definitely led to the scoreline there, 7-0 to Lions, yeah. Yeah,
Alex Fechner picking up 4 goals as well. We'll touch on him in a bit more in the season review and the Golden Boot race and stuff, but another bag for him. That's fantastic season for him.
He was part and parcel with the incident that brought the City player off as well. I think Roman Hoffman was the one who got sent off in that challenge from memory. But obviously Fechner being up front, we've probably mentioned it before on the show, just how much pace he's got.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's a bit of a tactic, and it wasn't necessarily how it played out with this actual this incident or this situation, but playing long balls or playing through balls causes defenders to make decisions there. They either have to come forward on him and try and catch him in an offside trap, or you have to hope you've got a defender that can go with him, because if you don't, he'll go. And you just need, if he gets given 10 or 15 metres to actually run onto, he's impossible to catch.
And there are not many defenders who can keep up.
I don't know if there's anyone who can catch him, to be honest. He's that quick. So it's absolutely a weapon to have up front. He's coming to his own, and as you said, we'll talk about it. But look, for City, it's a Classico. These things happen. There's a pretty good documentary doing the rounds from years ago between Real Madrid and Barcelona that highlights these sort of results, and they happen. Like, there'll be an opportunity, as we know, straight away actually for City to reply tomorrow night.
Tuesday.
So Brisbane City against Lions, obviously at home now, and they could turn the tables pretty quickly. So.
Absolutely. Someone who's not quite as quick these days, who had a great weekend. Shane Smeltz, initially listed on the bench, but ended up getting a starting role in the game against Olympic, scoring 3 himself in a 5-1 win against Olympic, which not a great week for Olympic. They also went down to Logan Lightning in the Australia Cup as well. So trouble there for Olympic, do you reckon, Dan? Or
I don't think so. I think, look, it's one of those midpoints of the season, and Olympic have been through this. Ben's been through this before for the last 5 years, and look, it's definitely probably a result that caught most off guard, seeing that scoreline. But again, one of those ones, and it's a lazy cliche, but not necessarily indicative of the match.
Yep.
Olympic probably weren't able to get into their style of play. It was the same against Logan. They weren't able to play the style of football that they've become known for, that we all enjoy watching as spectators, right? They play possession-based football. It's very attractive to watch. But look, I think it's one of those ones, and some of the great coaches and captains always say there'll be games where you've just got to actually forget. You just you go into the training room or the training pitch on Monday or Tuesday, and Tash, you probably know this better than the two of us from your experience. You actually don't even review. You just go, look, that one, we just parked that one. We forget it happened. We move on. There's nothing we're going to learn from that one. And I think Olympic will probably do that. So not really panic stations.
A lot of these teams as well have been playing midweek as well, so they've been testing out their squad base as well. So there'll be some tired legs as well. So that would probably add to some of these scorelines as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll move on to the NPL Women's now, and there was a grand final rematch. Tash, what are your thoughts on that one?
Look, it was a good game, 0 at half time.
Yep.
I know a couple of centre backs in the Kappa. One of them got a hamstring strain and the other one came off, and they scored 2 goals in that time. So having them out, but I mean, Georgie Worth back in goals.
Huge.
Good to have her back. Definitely a good presence to have against. But
she did give away a penalty. But
if you save it,
it's okay.
It's all right. Yeah, exactly. So Lions just. Kappa looked tired towards the end, and Lions, the powerhouse that they are, just kept on going. So
when I tuned into the stream fairly late into the match, it was just all attack from Lions. Just they kept on pushing, just Bryden, Gunston, Kirkup as well. Just all of them just pushing
that's
forward.
And that's what they do so well, and that's why they haven't lost since 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the stat we dropped the other week, wasn't it, Tash? It probably just is. It's another win, isn't it? Another win to the tally. And we're coming up on, I think, as I said, we're 22 months now since they've lost a game. They have, as we
since
said,
October.
But
who do you think is going to be the team to beat them?
I don't know. It's one of those ones, and like we'll sort of maybe start the review. We'll go into it again a little bit, Cal. But it's one of those ones when you see winning streaks, right? And it'd be interesting to hear from Rob Askew. I know he's interviewed post game, and a few other people have chatted with him as well. There will come a point, I wonder. Maybe Rob will say no, but where maybe a loss is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine.
How can you not?
What are they like? And I know what the girls will be pushing for. That they'll absolutely want to go for another undefeated season. They want a wins record in a row. All the rest, I get that. But understandably, naturally, motivation can wane. So I wonder if a loss at some point in the season wouldn't be a bad thing for them to regroup. I mean, they've got, what do we know now? I think they've probably got a 9 or 12 point lead at the top already.
Yeah, it's quite high.
We're actually missing a couple of players on the weekend, a couple of big players. Cannon Clough back over in the States, catching up, visiting some family over there. And Zara Kruger, who's with the in the Junior Matildas camp at the moment.
Chelsea
down
as well.
Chelsea.
She was
was she away?
Yep. Larissa was gone as well for Kappa.
Yeah, true. So a few big name players missing from that match, but as you said, 0 at half time. It was looking quite competitive.
Yeah, it was a good game.
So,
I mean, it is. Look at the league though. Like at home, we can obviously see it.
Results going around everywhere. Yeah,
but it is so close, isn't it? Again, we've been saying it for weeks, if not months now. Look at that league. Gold Coast, that's their first win of the season.
That is, yes. I was trying to point on that one.
Yeah, sorry, I stole your point.
No,
sorry.
Good.
But the Battle of the Coast, that's crazy. It's the first win, and look, they'll argue they've probably been unlucky because they've got 3 draws. It's not like they've been losing all the games. They've been borderline, but
to travel up to the coast, to the other coast, and get the win is always good.
On a Sunday afternoon, it's always difficult.
That is a long drive. From Telebradger too. That's
it's one of those ones. Like, unfortunately, the way the competition works, and obviously I'm pretty familiar with this, one of those teams isn't going to be there next year.
Yep.
And you'd have to argue, like, they're all pretty competitive.
Yeah.
I don't know if, they'll probably be putting their hand up and going, geez, what else could we have done? Like, we're pretty close.
Yeah. Well, one win can put you up to 4th or 5th, I believe. So if you're sitting on the bottom. So Moreton Bay South, who are sitting on 5, I believe, they can go all the way up to 4th if they get the next win.
Moving on to the FQPL 1, Roadshow getting up over Southwest Queensland Thunder. Sorry, butchered that one. Thunder actually took an early lead before Roadshow sort of ran away with it, but sickness kind of took over. Southwest Queensland were missing a few players due to sickness.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a few key bodies out there, and look, this will happen from time to time. It's not ideal, but as we know, that's football. That's the purpose of having the squad depth and being able to pull in the 23s and a few other. These teams at this level are expected to carry 30-odd bodies to be able to plug into those holes. Big day at Roadshow for them, obviously. As you said, they went down 1-0 but rallied. Ended up conceding a red late in the game to Alex Warlow as well.
Yeah. So Roadshow and red cards. Hey?
Roadshow and red cards. And obviously they've got a game, as we know, against Power at home tomorrow or tonight as well. And then, so look, it was a key one for them. It was first, third. Redlands obviously managed to get the result late against Southside Eagles on the Friday night, in the 92nd minute too. So pretty
a couple of other close games in there as well, with Caboolture just edging out Mitchelton 4-3. So a 7-goal thriller there, and Michael Lyle, hallmark of NPL in years gone by, doing things for Magpies Crusaders as he does, to get scoring a hat-trick in their 4-2 win over Western Pride. So
that was 6th versus 5th, so that was a big game
very
for
tight
Magpies.
Game. The first time that Pride's travelled up to Mackay in a while, and I don't think a lot of that squad would have been a part of that.
No, probably never.
Probably never, yeah. So it's,
their record at home has been strong this year, Magpies. Like, that is one, as we've said.
They beat Thunder 2 weeks ago as well. So
they're generally getting their results at home because it is a difficult trip. To sort of do with a day and a half, 2 days to go up. It's not a huge flight. We're not saying it's jet lag, but as you know, just getting preparation, feeling comfort, being at home. And Sunny Coast Fire got a bit of a good result over Strikers, 1-0 victory there. So upset at Strikers at home at Perry Park in front of their faithful would have been a pretty big boil over.
Yeah, again, not a great week for Strikers. They went down to Southwest Queensland Thunder in the midweek.
They did.
They had to travel up to up the range
on a cold Tuesday night.
And it's cold.
It is cold. It's foggy.
Can confirm.
Difficult at the best of times.
Yeah. Southside held league leaders Roadshow to a 2-2 draw as well. A 0-0 draw last week. So that was a big result for Southside. They've been pulling through with these big results, Southside.
Absolutely.
And then dropping off. Like it's a bit hard to pick.
Yeah, I think Claude will definitely be highlighting consistency for them. Like they're not necessarily safe from relegation as yet either, but as you've said, they've pulled some results as they've gone along. They ended up in round 6 of the Australia Cup for a reason.
Yeah.
So
they only conceded a late sort of winner from Fire
this week as well.
Late on. So they've played multiple games this week. The FQPL 1 women's Western Pride got up over Brisbane City, which is was a very close game. It puts City's promotion hopes. It's a big dent in that. So
definitely. I heard it was a tight game, but they really needed to win that to possibly look for promotion there. So that's unfortunate. Yeah,
and Virginia United getting a good win over Logan Lightning, 5-2, with a hat trick in that one to Yaramuro. Sorry. So good stuff in that leagues. The previous week, though, Mitchelton beat Western Pride 4-2 with Callie Purifoy. Just getting all four. Getting all four again.
Goal scoring.
Standard.
You know what there is, to probably keep it local for people at home, what I'm sensing with Callie, and I wish I had, a more worldly example, so excuse my ignorance, but it reminds me of the Pengelly 2019
season.
Yep.
Remember he banged home 50?
Yeah, 52.
Yeah, 47.
Well, there you go.
47 league goals.
Yeah. Look, that's where Callie's sort of embarking on at the moment. Like she's in the mid-20s. We're halfway through a season.
Yep.
Like she's going to, or to be honest, probably the more applicable one actually, I apologise, is Shay from last year.
Yeah. What did she finish?
She ended up 50 something, didn't she?
Yeah.
We'd have to double check that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
check that. So I should know
So
that.
she's in contention for that.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, Meg McGilligan got 50 odd quite a few years ago
as well.
As well, it was a much bigger league, and there were teams like Marjorie Barr in that who were a bit weaker as well.
But to your point, but I think that's where it's critical, right? Like when you're talking, we don't like to compare goal scorers because goals are goals, but I would actually argue that Callie's are worth, I don't want to say more. They're not winning 12 or 15-0 and she's getting 4 of them. They're winning 4-2 and she's getting 4 of them.
Yeah.
They're winning 3-0 and she's getting 3 of them. She's actually scoring. It's not like Mitchie have scored 150 goals and she's got 50 of them.
Yeah.
They've scored 35 goals and she's got 28 of them or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what's probably critical. She's actually such a big difference in that team.
Yeah, but like Lions has 3 goal scorers,
But
whereas Callie is the sole one for
Correct.
Mitchie.
Yeah.
So,
Like I'm sure, Tegan probably banged home 15 or 20 for Lions last year.
yeah.
Even with Shay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And then on to the FQPL2 men's. There was a massive high-scoring match and a coast derby there with Coomera and Surfers Paradise Apollo ending 4-6 in favour of Surfers. Alavo Santos getting 3 and
Peroni.
Peroni.
Yeah, Peroni got 3. I think Surface will have to...
Teddy with a couple as well.
They've just got to shore up their back there. Like I think Surface... I actually watched most of the game and it's one of those ones where Surface would score... It was 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
They'd score 2, concede 1, score 1, concede 1, score 2, concede 1, score 1, concede 1. And it was just one of those ones
Lapse
where
in concentration.
because they were conceding
used
really
to-
quickly, right? Like I think the first half alone was 4-3 or 4-2 in the first half.
Yeah.
Were they straight after their goals?
Yeah, so it was, as you said, it was a lapse. It would be within 2 or 3 minutes they would score and they concede.
Yeah, that's the most dangerous time.
Yeah, because they were just sort of,
There's
there's a bit of complacency perhaps, but they continued their winning ways. Obviously, they're still undefeated, as we know.
The other top team up there, Albany Creek, Celsius, had a 0-0 draw against rivals Grange Thistle, so there was a entertaining match and quite cold out there at Walter Park, I heard. Taringa as well picked up a good away win against Wynnum, so that was also a big result in that league. Previous week, Taringa actually held Surface to a 2-2 draw as well last week. So and Holland Park drew with Albany Creek, so the 2 big teams at the top.
Had a couple of interesting results. Like Surface, I think the 2 draws have come against Taringa and Virginia.
Yeah, wow.
So I think that is an interesting one. From memory, both have been away as well. But yeah, certainly one to watch there for Surface. We've got the Surface Ace game happening in the next couple of weeks too.
I've been looking in that in the fixture list for that one for ages, and just they never seem to have lined up. That's been
they'll play each other in quick
times,
succession. I'll tell you that much. They'll play the reversal, the rescheduled fixture of round 1, and then I'm pretty sure they play again in a fortnight or something.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be tuning into the live stream of that one. We'll make that a big game. Some big results in the FQPL2 women's, just to finish things off there. Taringa women getting up 2-0 over Ipswich, who are there in that top 4 battle up there. UQ got a good win over Annerley as well, 5-0 with Reed getting 3. Quite a lot of hat-tricks this week, being pointed out. So, fantastic. And Pine Hills got up over Albany Creek by the looks of it. So, a bit of an upset. Again, a local sort of...
Yeah, it was. It was a local derby. I mean, it was a big day out at Albany Creek at Walter Park. They had Pine Hills and the women and Grange and the men. Unfortunately, didn't manage to collect 3 points in any of the fixtures.
Yeah,
they went down to the 23s from memory for both too.
Yeah, no good.
But Grange, I mean, you guys have got an inside word into what's happening in the Grange dressing room at the moment. I don't know what's going on there, but they've had some results in previous weeks. We highlighted the win against UQ a fortnight ago.
Yeah, and they won. They've won their past 2 games.
I mean, there you go. You know what's going on. What is happening? Have they been drinking the special water or something?
Went to Grange game on the weekend. It was actually a really tight game, and Rabina only just scored off kind of a lucky shot.
Rabina is still fielding a couple of former NPL girls from memory.
That's correct. So Grange is kind of striding it out into form.
Yeah,
you'd say.
Yeah, Grange for a lot of that second half at least were really pushing. It was.
And they had
the
some
possession
really
was more
great
in their attacking half as well, which was good to see.
They had a penalty.
Shout out Kate Lawson. Get him on
had a penalty, which the keeper did a great save. To be honest.
Or who took a penalty?
Kate.
So did the keeper make a great save, or was the penalty taker an ordinary penalty? That's the question, isn't it?
I'll let you decide on that.
Was there footage? I might have to try and have a look at
There's a one-hand touch onto the bar, so
I'll have to have a look at that one.
It was a good game, and that would have would have got them up 1-0 at that point, or was it one? Was it already?
Possibly, yeah.
Yep.
And then she did actually have a chance late in the game as well to get a bit of hero and get the equaliser. But
the last 5 minutes, it was just Grange taking shots on Rabina.
Right.
So they were definitely pushing.
Who's Rabina's keeper? Sandra Zafina?
Tash Maverick at the moment.
Tash Maverick. Yeah. Cass was there though, wasn't she?
I believe she was. I'm not too sure why she's not playing, but I mean, Tash is from Mount Cravat days when they were elite, so she's a pretty good keeper to be second in FQPL 2.
Yeah. We'll just quickly touch on a few of the big games across the coming weekend ahead. I'm not going to go through all of them here, but in the NPL men's, we've got Gold Coast Knights against Lions. That's Lions' first loss. Or only loss of the season that they'll be looking to avenge.
4, but was our first game.
But
that's right. So so Lions, I hadn't even been following that, but they haven't dropped a game since.
First week of the season.
So match day 1.
They'll be out for a bit of redemption there. And
6-3, if you remember too. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was
That's right. 3-3 and then 6-3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every game's a massive clash in the NPL women's. It's so tight in that, but Eastern Suburbs and Olympic is sort of 3rd and 5th there. So
it's a local derby too.
Local derby, definitely. So that's one to watch there. Rochester Rovers and Redlands play each other in the FQPL 1 men's competition. So that's top 2 teams, I believe.
Yep. Certainly is.
And then another top 2 clash in the FQPL 1 women's with Penn Power and Mitchelton facing off. In the men's for FQPL 2, we have Wolves against Surfers. So a former FQPL 1 side against the newly promoted and league leaders Surfers.
They had a good game in round 1 too. From memory, it was 3-2 or 3-1. Surfers got up. So that's a.
I think apart from those 2 draws, I think Wynnum have been the closest to
challenge them.
To challenge Surfers. Obviously, Albany Creek haven't played them yet, but. That was a good fixture when it happened. And then also another top 4 clash in the women's league, Broadbeach and Ipswich Knights. So
it's a rematch of the Brisbane Premier League. Kappa League. No, I lie. They were both grand finalists. Sorry, my information's getting tired, but they were grand finalists respectively in Brisbane Premier League women's and Cat 1 women's last year.
Yeah. So let's get on to a bit more. We've sort of discussed on a lot of these mid-season points already, but we'll break it down in a bit more detail. We've got the league ladder for the NPL men's after round 14. Lions sitting nice and pretty on 32 points, leading with a good gap by 8 points there to the nearest rivals. Olympic.
6, your math's a bit off there, mate, but we'll work with you. 32-26. But Olympic with the game in hand.
Yes. Yeah.
The goal difference, I think, is critical too. Like wins on the weekend for Lions. I think this will be a season where things come down pretty close to goal difference. Like, if you have a look as well, Knights have got a couple of games in hand there as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
So I think goal difference will be critical.
Yeah. Well, the Lions have started with 52 goals before. It's quite a lot. They'd be disappointed by the 20 against that they've conceded. Like we said with that 6-3, and talking to Joe early on in the show this year, they were quite a bit shocked by the amount of goals that was conceded there, and losing Luke Borrian at the start of the season. It's probably taken Aidan Munford a bit of time to get in to the swing of things, but the defence has shored up in recent weeks. So
we probably don't have the clean sheet data, but I would you have it coming up? Yeah, because I'd say that Aidan would be getting up there now with the clean sheets, because as you said, when you concede 6, the other one's obviously Lockie Chogo-Hunter.
Yeah.
You take away the 5 goals on the weekend that Olympic conceded, look at that, they're sitting on 14 against.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty tidy defensive record. Yeah. So it was, again, one of those sort of outlying results.
Speaking of good defensive records, Gold Coast United sitting in 5th. They've only conceded 16 goals this season. So,
but look at it again. It's like they either win close or lose close.
Yeah.
Have a look at their sort of for and against there.
Yeah. So Jackson Riley. I remember the game that they had against Brisbane City. Made some fantastic saves in that game and really kept them in it and got them the win there. So, much to Brisbane City's.
I think we spoke to Matt Smith after. He actually said the same thing. It was one of those same ones where he said, "Look, Jackson Riley, very good keeper." Kept him in.
Looking at that top 4 battle, we've got 2 teams within 3 points of that top 4 in Gold Coast United, who are 2 points behind, and Sunny Coast Wanderers, who are 3 points behind 4th place Knights there. Knights obviously have points in hand, so realistically you probably need to add a few points on there to catch up to maybe Power. But who knows what can sort of happen with them. So it's in touching distance for those 2 coast teams, I'd say.
I think the other one to highlight is Moreton Bay, no less than 3 or 4 weeks ago, was sort of sitting there on single-digit points, and they've come strong in the last couple of weeks. They've got the results they needed to push themselves up the ladder, sitting there in 7th.
Yeah, very true. Each had a great start to the season.
Each had a good start, and they've had a bit of falter lately, and
Yep.
haven't got the results maybe they otherwise would have, and obviously they've had some wet weather hit them as well again, so they've got some games in hand, don't get us wrong, but yeah, certainly interesting. I mean, probably the movers and shakers there, Gold Coast United.
Yeah, quite impressive from them. Looking more down towards the bottom of the table there, Brisbane City currently surviving. Logan Lightning and Kappa are in the relegation zone at the moment. Brisbane Roar, unfortunately, sitting in that 11th spot, but as they can't be relegated, they're sort of immune there, and it means that Logan really have to pull something out. They parted ways with, or Rick Coughlin parted ways with them to move to Peninsula Power to set himself up to take over Aaron Philp for the season moving forward.
James Coote's obviously taking the reins at Logan.
Yep.
I mean, since James has been there the last couple of games, so they've managed to get that win against Olympic and obviously the draw against East. So I don't think they'll be too dissatisfied with where that's currently sitting.
Yeah.
Good opportunity for them to push into the round of 32 pending the result against Sunny Coast Fire this week too. Certainly interesting.
Yeah. And Kappa need to really dig deep. Still struggling down there.
They're the only team that's played every game from that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's the other probably difficult one as well, is Kappa don't have a lot of games in hand.
Where everyone else does, so they need to get some A win.
Yeah, that they do. Looking at the preview, as we said with Lions, they had a few voids to fill in their squads. They lost Jordan Farina, Luke Borrian, and Max Mikler, who's doing quite well down in South Melbourne, which is good to see. And so, they've filled that void fairly well, you'd say, with a lot of the signings that they brought in. That's...
You go, Tash.
Definitely, I think it took them a couple of weeks to get into their stride, but now you can see that from there they've just gone strength to strength and kind of put the 6-2 6-3 game behind them. Like,
well and truly.
Said, that happened. Let's move on.
Yeah.
They kind of did that, and since then they've kind of recuperated really well and come together as a team. And having an outlet, like 2 outlets up front instead of just relying on Pengelly, is massive help. Speed and then someone who's so accurate in front of goal.
Yeah, I don't want to put the sort of the highlight or target too much on Alex, but there probably, I would imagine, be some other clubs having a look around at him as well, and I mean probably at an A-League level. Just given there's just things that, it's that old coaching adage, right? There's one thing you can't coach, and you can't coach speed. You got speed. We said it earlier. You got speed in droves. You can
Warren,
Warren
Moon does.
You can teach technical, right?
You can. Yeah.
But you just can't teach speed. But as you said, there's some key other signings they've made there. Hassan Ramazani, Matt Redenton, Aiden Munford. Redenton's been quality
Phillips,
for them.
that was the other one.
Hart Phillips as well.
The biggest ins and outs of their squad compared to previous years. So no wonder it took them a little while to gel together. You don't just come together sometimes. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Shawnee Carlos,
as we said,
having come back. I mean, he
obviously
came back late towards last year. He's now the skipper. Given that Murray Simic moved on last year. So, look, they're looking pretty good, but as we know, there's a couple of results, and I'm not going to put the mocker on the club, but injuries and stuff. They lost Finn earlier in the season. There's a couple of little things that can happen, and so plenty for them to continue to do if they are going to be there at the end of the season.
Another big signing that was good for the league, Keegan Yelisich to Olympic, who's been picked up by Perth Glory to play A-League football. It's fantastic. He's had an amazing start of the season. 6 goals in 4 games he had, and 9 goals in 11 prior to his departure. He started the season with 6 goals in 4 games. And had 9 from his.
He scored lots in not many, mate. That's the easiest way to put it. He scored plenty in not many. Plenty in not many. He was also just assisting for them. I mean, at one point he was setting up Zach Keeple. Every goal that Zach would score would come from Keegan's assist, Keegan's boot. I don't often have opinions, obviously, on this sort of stuff. I tend to steer clear. And for me, I probably actually would have had Keegan as player of the season to the point when he left. I genuinely think he was that influential in that club. He was absolute quality and class, and huge power or testament to him and his family, obviously, for getting an opportunity to go to Perth. And we hope, obviously, as with any export, that to another club that he does well. I hope he ends up killing it in the A-League. But obviously, well done to Olympic and Ben for harnessing that potential as well, because he just,
and giving him a platform to thrive in
that system. Like, and I think that's really critical. Like, is those sorts of players. You know, and we look at in the past. You look at Jez a couple of years, 2 years ago there. We've had plenty that go through Olympic, and if they do have that creative and quality and class and technical nous, they will absolutely be able to thrive in that system. So,
how do you think the loss of him is going to affect Olympic moving forward for the rest of the season, just on how influential he's been?
Yeah, look, hugely. He played. What game did he play? They had a game obviously before they played Logan in the round 6 game last week. And
Gold Coast?
No, that was the United just gone. But whoever they played, they did manage to get the result. It was his last game there.
Yeah.
They did manage to get the result. I can't even think who it was. Might have been Logan. Sorry, not Logan. Might have been Raw. But look, I think it'll be key. There is something to open our minds to, and that is we mentioned this in the last episode, Tash, that the registration period, or unofficially the transfer window, as we call it now for our pro leagues. From NPL, the men's from NPL to QPL2 opens this coming Wednesday, I believe. And I think there will be an opportunity maybe for Olympic to sign someone, I don't know who that is, and strengthen their squad. So that'll be interesting to sort of monitor there. I think there'll be a couple like that. I don't know, you're not going to replace Keegan.
No.
So it doesn't matter who it is, you're not going to replace him. So. But look, I think they can come home in a canter, and there's plenty still to play for Olympic. I mean, the premiership's by no means it's still within their own hands in that they play Lions, they've got a game in hand, and points get dropped.
Yeah, absolutely. They just have to rely on the rest of the team. Stevie White, you've got to continue stepping up as he so often does for Olympic. So it'd be a real test for him.
I mean, look, there's got Dan Leck.
Yeah,
we know what Dan's good for. He scored the goal against Logan last week.
Probably had a much quieter season than he has in previous years. So it's his time to sort of step back up and fill in Keegan's shoes, really.
Yep.
So, at the start of the season, we did some just Instagram polls on who we thought was going to where the top 4 we're going to finish up. Surprising name on that, if you're looking at the table this year, is Brisbane Raw. Who unfortunately are sitting in that. That
was obviously based off, if you remember, from what was previous.
It was the top 4. Was the previous top 4? Yes. So Brisbane Raw, they had a really good squad and really good setup. Talking to Luca, who used to work at the Raw, he was always saying that it happens in cycles, right? So you'll get players where they because they're under 23s, they stay together for a couple of years, and they were at the end of their cycle. Last year, so they really had a quality
much of their squad this year they promoted through, right?
Yeah, so a lot of their squad now was the under 23s or under 18s that are really coming through. So
Cyrus plus, a couple of them got signed elsewhere as well. So.
And then Alex Parsons has moved on. But we saw Cyrus go up. We saw Macklin, but no, who else am I thinking as well in the middle? Louis Zabala, who you guys both had on the show, obviously. Yeah. A couple of others as well. So. Yeah,
so they've still got some work to do to get back, but there's a lot of great young talent in that team. Brandon McMorrow and Sam Klein, some young kids coming through that are really good. And when they get those players, now they're starting to get some minutes. The A-League men's team is in pre-season now. They've just started, so maybe you'll get some people trying to get some minutes in the legs there. So hopefully they can bolster the squad when that happens.
The other thing is, and perhaps the result over the weekend against Moreton Bay is indicative of this, as we know, is they actually, not only do they have players come through, but they grow into themselves and playing as a unit. You see it in the women's with QAS, and we've spoken about this before, Tash.
Yeah.
They're actually stronger in the second half of the season than they are in the first half. Yeah. The combinations start to click. Yeah. The passing starts to actually stick. It's just a different part of the season for them. So,
no, I'm sure Grossi and will be able to get the best out of the team coming forward and have a good second half. Yeah. So fingers crossed for them. Back up to that predictions. Lions were sitting at 44% to take out the premiership, and so I think the punters were pretty right on that.
Yeah, I think some news had broken about sort of some of the signings and where they were going to maybe be landing.
Olympic 17th there. They were our lowest sort of polling one for the
top 4.
So the top 4. Currently sitting second. So Keegan has a lot to offer there. What have we got next? Brisbane City finish. Now they were the promoted team from the FQPL 1. The highest percentage there was 4th to 6th, but currently they're sitting in 9th. still quite tight in that lower end of the table, but they just didn't quite get the start that they were after, did they?
Yeah, no. I mean, we had Matt on just after maybe round 2 or round 3, and they dropped a couple of close games. That had a tough one up against, just trying to think they played early, Olympic, and then they dropped points at Gold Coast United, as we said, with Jackson Riley having an absolute blinder. But I guess from there, City have worked into it. They had an out. They've had a couple of. It's been a season of 2 halves, but almost halves within halves for City. We had the Peninsula Power result at Power, if you remember, for the Football Federation Cup midweek, tough game, 5-0.
Yeah.
Power hit their straps, and we thought, what's going on here?
City were very in that game at halftime. They were only 1-0 down, and it was a second half effort from Penn Power. That they really just stormed away with it. So,
but I think it goes to bring it back to the conversation we had with Matty earlier in the season. It goes to that comment he made, and that is that in the FQPL 1 or some of the leagues as we go down the pyramid, you can get away with some things. You can get away with leaking and some stuff at the back, and you can maybe concede a goal because you can score 2. You just can't at this top league, at this level now. Now that we've got a much tighter and closer league in 12 teams, that's why they're seeing errors get punished. We saw on the weekend they got a card. Joe scores a goal straight away off that free kick, and again you're looking now at 1-0 down with 10 men. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah, tough to play for them, but they can definitely still push.
They've got so much quality on the park.
That 6th position there.
I have no doubt City can finish in the top half of the table. Right now, they start stringing. They've got, I think they've got 10 or 11 games to go in the season. We're genuinely halfway through. On their day again, I have no doubt they can beat anyone on the ladder. And
then looking at the Golden Boot update here, in first place, as we've said, is Alex Fechner with 17 goals from his 11 games. And joining him up the top there, Andy Pengelly, 11 in 13. 28 goals between those two, which is more than double their 52 goals scored. So they are really putting it on for Lions this season.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic 1-2 punch, isn't it? Between the both of them, like they're scoring goals for days. So, and I can appreciate as well, they're probably really enjoying playing with one another. Yeah. Because when you've got someone who you play off, we spoke about it in the women's space with Lions last year, if you use like your Tegan and Shay example, is they often drag attention away as well.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So you're actually free to do, where Andy in the past has always been his go-to goal, whether it's even at Peninsula when he had a bit of class around him or even at strikers. He's now got Alex there who's taken a fair bit of attention. If you don't give Alex the attention,
Pengelly's got it.
Yeah, you've got 2 outlets there, and they have different strengths as well.
Huge.
Yeah. So you're not taking anyone's thunder, I suppose. And then who do you mark? If you're with Andy, you'd just mark him out of the game if it was just solely him. But now they've got another threat that they really need to be
And if you mark those 2, you still got Ducky in behind and Matt Denton as well, who have scored a lot. So plus anyone in the park can score as well. Tommy Jarrett's got a couple off the noggin, and Shawnee Carlos a few from midfield as well. So the goals all around park.
Let's just remember, Joe Duckworth won the Golden Boot 2 years ago.
He did.
He was a Golden Boot winner in 2020. But he can score goals for fun. Like he must be enjoying playing behind both of them, just feeding balls through. I mean, he scored, as I said, on the weekend. Yeah. He's just having fun. Yeah. Smelt's in there in 3rd. We highlighted earlier. I mean, the dark art of the goal sneak. It's not lost on us. At 40 years old, sitting in 3rd, 9 goals. The
traditional number 9.
He may get a call up back to the A-League at this rate. I don't know if he wants to go. But
maybe back to the New Zealand national team after the
unfortunate
losses there. And then the 2 Olympic boys in Keegan and Zach. As you said, Keegan assisting Zach in a lot of his 9 goals. Both got 9 goals apiece there. So a big duo for Olympic there. Into the clean sheets. No Chalk Hunter, he's just got the 3, but we've got 3 keepers tied on 4. Sam Nichols, Aidan Munford and Phil Zabax there. Sam Nichols at Wanderers, they know how to defend on that park when they play at home.
It's been grinding at results at Ballinger Park. Yeah. And as of last weekend, they did get the win just going over Capella, but they were the king of the draw. Kings of the draw, rather. I think they were up to 5 draws. Yeah. They just managed to get results. Yeah, so
unreal. And Aidan Munford, he's a class keeper. I was very excited when I saw that he was coming back to the NPL and in signing with Lions, because when he played in the 2020 season, he was fantastic. The goalkeeper of the year that year. Like he was very good.
He's matured as well.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. Like I've gone back. I've watched a bit of Aiden this year play for Lions, but then I went back and watched a couple of highlight videos for Gold Coast United. He's actually just, in terms of the way he positions himself, I don't know, probably vocally as well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
When he's still only, Aiden's mate 23,
Yeah.
maybe.
So it would have been really young when he was
he's
back
21
then,
when
so
he's
that
playing
makes
first
sense.
MPL. Like he's just matured and come into his own now.
Yeah.
Came from the Mariners youth setup, I
He did.
believe. So
He was down at Wollongong last year in the New South Wales MPL.
Yeah. And obviously he was in and around that sort of raw setup as well last year with Warren. Warren does like to take players from the NPL as we've seen in the past. So yeah, maybe getting some experience from and knocking on the door there to try and get himself a go for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Will be his goal, I'm assuming. So yeah, solid seasons for them. One last thing, Lions are on a 12-game winning streak. They haven't, apart from that Knights game, they've unbeaten streak.
Unbeaten streak, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they've really turned things around. So.
Both Lions, men and women, are on a streak at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's something that Gold Coast Knights this weekend will be well aware of.
100%.
They're the only team to have taken all 3 points against Lions this season, rather.
Yeah.
So trust me, they'll be very well aware. Here's their opportunity now to change things.
Yeah. It's a home game for them as well.
Yeah, it is. So, huge home game for them.
For them to do that scoreline away was like
huge,
eye-opening for a lot of us.
Yeah, very big. Let's move on to the NPL Women's now. The ladder after round 9. We've got Lions sitting at the top, 7 from 7, 21 points with the perfect start. Great stuff for them. They have had 2 close calls this season though, and it was against the QAS. Where they took a 3-0 sort of early lead, but in the second half, QAS came out, scored 2 goals, put the pressure on them in the second half. They looked like possibly slipping up a little bit, but managed to hold their nerve. And then the other was against Souths at Wakeley Park on the synthetic. 1-0. Maddie Teakle coming up from left back and slotting one late in the game. So
I think with that one, that play started with her and ended with her. She played that ball and it went around the out wide and it came back into her. So that would have been a good...
definitely a coach pleaser, that one.
For sure, 100%.
It's a point of difference for Souths, that synthetic though. I mean, you know it yourself from having played at it. It genuinely teams...
catches people up.
Well, they don't regularly play on a synthetic, right, in Brisbane and in Queensland, rather. We don't play on one, so...
the bounce is different, the speed of the ball is different.
Yeah.
Even running on it, sore on the body. It's hard. You can't tackle... slide tackling is also like something that if it's part of a game, you probably stay away from it.
Yeah.
Now, South sort of played a lot of their games at home, so...
With the wet weather.
This season with the wet weather.
It's been a couple of reversals.
So,
I mean, of their... I think they've played 6 or 7. Can't quite see it there, but I think they've probably played 4 or 5 of them at home already.
Yeah, I suppose disappointing for them, though, that they're still down in that bottom part of the...
Starting the season off with that match against Lions and now seeing that they're second from the bottom on 5 points, tying with Gold Coast... with Moreton Bay. Definitely would put a spanner in the works for their season. But, just a reset from here. It's halfway point. You can change that now because that
it is
league
still
is so tight.
Kappa started very poorly with a loss against QAS, but have really turned things around. They're now sitting in second. In their last 5 matches, they've got 3 wins, and then unfortunately the loss to Lions there on the weekend. But a good turnaround from the girls there at Kappa. Yeah,
definitely. I think... they're just getting into their stride. They're just, I think they had a couple of A-League players that weren't there at the beginning of the season that are key players for them. So missing them initially, and then when they get them back, just gelling together. So that's probably, I reckon, why they didn't start the season off the way they intended to, I suppose. And with QAS, I think with them being schoolgirls, like they're in term 2 now, coming towards a mid-year and camps as well, and a lot of them going away for junior camps. So their squad is constantly changing and just also having school as well as that period of time at school.
It's mid-semester exams.
You just kind of drained a little bit. So I reckon all those contributing factors and how much they do train. They train a bit more than the other NPL teams as well. So all those things would contribute
to them. All these
little
factors, right, that I guess a lot of people aren't just, as a general observer or punter, Tash, a lot of the wider public aren't. We know that the QAS is a younger team, and we understand all that, but they're not taking into account that, hold on, okay, the QAS...
They train 4 nights a week with a couple of gym
16,
sessions.
17.
They go to school, they come here after school, and then they train 3 or 4 times. Do a gym session if that's before or after their session, or on their days off, and then have recovery as well as theory on top of that.
Yep.
Like that's a schedule for them as well as, you know, their day-to-day outside socialising, as well as if any of them are getting picked up in junior Matildas or
there's
any
quite
of
a few
those
of them
camps.
have been, which has been good.
Yeah, which is great.
I think
Yep.
3 or 4 of them. Four, sorry.
last
Have,
week,
yeah.
So then, those girls,
That's
the
probably
senior girls are going
good
away.
opportunity to shout out too.
Yeah.
4 plus Zara from Lions as well. 5 players picked in the junior Matildas.
Yep.
Huge. So it's showing that what we're doing up in Queensland is working because
Yeah.
we're having people selected for higher honours, which is fantastic.
And
So
they're still feeling
Yeah.
at the moment 6 on the ladder. Had the bye this weekend and then a couple of losses before that. But previous to that, they were getting some really good results. They had a great start to the season. Adam Pengelly, the coach there, was really proud of the girls and how they're starting to gel together as a unit. So
we had Kelly on obviously
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, fortnight ago now. But
Yep.
I think to your point, Tash, it'll be an interesting one. They got the 2 wins off the mark to go, 3 losses, a bye now to refresh.
Yeah.
They'll have the school holidays as we
well.
know it.
Yep.
We'll probably see some momentum start to build now, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
too.
if they don't have camps as well, then they'll all be back in, ready to go, and the whole squad is there as well. So I think they'll kind of come good towards the back end.
Well, Dave De Silva's prediction at the start, when we did the preview for this competition, his prediction was that QES wouldn't finish last, in the sense that like they wouldn't be in that relegation sort of heap. And I think I don't see them being a part of that this season. I think they've shown some good quality early on in the season. They're kind of going through a little bit of a tide patch, as we've discussed here, but yeah, hitting that refresh button. I mean, they've got a good platform
we
to
were 4 and against, -1. So you remove that
goals.
Lions loss, right?
Yeah.
They're actually parity, right?
Easy.
That's what's crazy, and that's what I mean. They're scoring goals, but if they're losing games, it's 2-1.
They're close games.
It's very close games, yeah.
For sure.
So great to see. And as we discussed earlier, Gold Coast United, 3 draws in there, probably a bit unlucky their start to the season.
Their first win on the weekend. So.
Their first win, yep. So they'd probably like to see themselves much higher up the table.
Yep.
And yeah, I think they're very close to that. You turn, even just 1 or 2 of those draws into wins, and they're definitely right up there. They're almost in the 4. So that's how tight this is.
6th to 9th, there's 1 point between them. So you win at 9th, and you're jumping up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, all to play it forward there for them.
Absolutely.
Looking at the predictions there, look, we did think that. A lot of people were going to think that Lions were going to do well. Like, they went undefeated last year, and no team can go undefeated and then kind of be...
they lost players, but they also
tipsy,
recruited really well to their team as well. So everyone did think that they were going to continue continue their run.
Shay Connors, Misha Westland and Megan Price in there, as well as Izzy Shuttleworth as well. So 4 quite big losses there, but Ellie Chappell has come in and she leads the clean sheet race there, which we'll discuss. But so she's been a fantastic pickup from
them also
from
having
up
Coco
north.
Before that.
Yeah,
she was sharing the goals with
she was,
and in their own right, they both are
fantastic
keepers.
Yeah,
they're starting keepers.
Yeah.
So no one thought that their goals, their posts were going to be unmarked.
No. And Beck Kirkup has really stepped into the Shay Connors role of the speed and power on the wing as well.
I think you could see that every time she got on in the back end of last season, she was always
hungry for it.
And she was scoring goals, and she was putting turning defenders and really making them think towards the back end. I did wonder if how'd she go starting a whole 90 minutes because she is a quick asset towards the back end when you're tired. You kind of it's easier, I suppose, when everyone else is tired and you're fresh legs, and she's quite a quick gal. So, but she's done well.
Absolutely. Kappa, we've said, have rebuilt well, and the team's gelling together, sitting in second there. So, that's good. Moving down onto some of the other teams there. Souths and Gold Coast have probably had a disappointing start than what we sort of said, but
given where they finished last year, but.
Yeah,
I mean, as we see, 6 or 7 games.
Can still be well.
They're both still in the Kappa Women's Super Cup too.
Yeah, so their eyes are also set on something else as well. So they're playing that extra game as well that other teams possibly might not.
Yeah.
So that could be adding to that. I mean, they did have a bit of a switch over between each other. So are they still gelling together, or what's happening there? the travel. I know some of the girls from South travel from the Gold Coast
Yeah,
with
they
this
do.
wet
Vice
weather and
versa.
stuff. Like, is
Yeah.
that affecting anything
Yeah.
coming up? So,
Yeah.
Yep.
One team we haven't really covered much on in this league is Olympic. They were the team that was promoted from the FQPL late last year. They're now sitting in 5th place. They've had a mixed bag of results, you'd say. But with the way this league is so tight,
they're grinding out
it's
results.
not bad. Yeah.
And I know that they've had a couple injuries, and a lot of they don't have really many big players. I mean, Alira and Rosie Sutton have both been injured and are only coming back into it now, getting 10, 15 minutes
right.
at the end of the game. So when those girls come back, they'll have an outlet up front. So they're grinding out wins and draws at the moment. So when those girls come back,
they've got a good platform to go up there.
so they can strengthen their squad. For
I think to align them to being the promoted team, obviously from the FQPL 1 men's, and what we said with City, the NPR Women is the same. It's a general rule is, as we said, you just can't slip up, right? So Olympic, as you said, Tash, they're grinding out results from time to time, but as we're seeing, an error here, an error there means that they will go down against Lions or they will go down against whoever else they've dropped points to. They're just not able to make those mistakes and rely on the quality or polish to be able to get them a 3-1 or 3-2. So...
Moving down to the Golden Boot update, looking at the list here. We've got quite a lot that we're wanting to showcase because it's still quite tight. But the top 3, Tegan Riding on 7, Kirkup on 6, and Amy Gunston on 5.
You've got your front 3 of
the front 3 of Lions,
and that's
top 3 in the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I mean, Beck's only played 5 games. I'm surprised by that. I thought she played a bit more, but still scoring more goals than she's played.
Yeah, well, it's great. Great ratio there. It's good. Jasmine Genovese has been a good pickup from for Kappa there from Virginia.
Yeah, she is
settling in nicely.
Yeah, for 4 goals. She's 4 games, 4 goals. So she's on a goal streak, and coming up from FQPL 1. The step up, which is how is she going to go, I suppose, was a question. But she's fitted in well, and she's scoring bangers from everywhere. But she did come up from Canberra. She's initially from Canberra and was in part of their equivalent of QAS. So
the National Training Centre team.
Yeah, so she's been around the game for a while, and her and Georgie used to actually train together back when they were really young.
Right.
So that was something that they didn't realise until they came to Kappa. But so she's not new to being in that competitive nature or this calibre of level of playing, etc.
But still performing very well.
Yeah.
Elliot Chappell, as we said, leading the clean sheet update with 4.
When your team's only conceded 4 goals.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to kind of cycle through and haven't conceded that many. So Celeste Peterson doing a good job down at Gold Coast United with 2, as has Izzy Shuttleworth making her new transfer pay off for Moreton Bay with 2 clean sheets there. They're not conceding that many goals either. So
the draws that Gold Coast have been
very low scoring.
Having would have been
few nils,
yeah.
I would have thought there'd be a couple more there for Celeste, but we're going to sort of get through these the FQPL 1 stuff a little bit quicker here. Caboolture's promotion, and I suppose that was a big topic of conversation right at the start of the preview there, and how they'd go. Dan, how have you rated Caboolture's start to 2021?
They've struggled, and TK will tell you this himself, but they've just struggled again with depth. It's one of those ones where, and it wasn't to say they relied on Cam or necessarily Lucas Pullen or Joey Copus, but they do have a couple of key players, and losing Cam, huge congratulations to him for getting the contract over in Norway under Casey over there. But I think they've just been hit and miss now. They've had to grind out some results. They've had some blowout losses, as we know. There's a couple of games there they've sort of conceded 5 or 6, and even on the weekend against Mitchelton where they got the win, they still conceded 3. Yeah. So, look, as I've mentioned all along, there's an opportunity now, depending on what the club wants to do, to regroup and maybe sign a couple of key players to finish off the season. And I think they'll do that. The key thing for Caboolture now, the focus will be shifting to just make sure that they're there next year. They're sitting obviously in 8th. They don't want to be in a relegation position. So for them, they'll make sure that they're sort of sitting there at the pointy end, whether that's in 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever it is, they'll take whatever need be, but they just want to be there for next year and then sort of rebuild again.
And we had 3 teams drop down from the NPL into the FQPL 1 in Strikers, Redlands and Magpies. How have we rated their season so far? Redlands sitting pretty at the top of the table and doing really good.
Yeah. Look, I think they're all three really different. Redlands consolidated in terms of and just retained a lot of their key players. They invested in youth, invested in players that had done the job. Graham took the head coaching role there. He's obviously the technical director as well. He plays a pretty specific style of football as well. Yeah. We know he's a good football mind, so he's been able to get the results that he's wanted to get. And he's had some good ones there. So I think he'll absolutely be doing everything in his power to make sure they get the top two finish to go straight back up. Strikers went a different route. They obviously had veterans since moved on. They recruited quite well, as we saw, and as we've said, Luke Borean, Jordan Farina, Ethan Smith, Darcy Pearson, Cody Maud, like a couple of those players, or a number of those players came in, bought into the culture and wanted to be there. They've had some challenges in recent weeks, as we've seen, and dropped points. So it's now again, they've got an opportunity to regroup the second half of the season and sort of go from there and push forward. And then you've got Magpies again, probably for the most part were a complete unknown. They lost a number of players, they rebuilt, they had a new coach come in after a couple of games. They've started to get together, as we've said, a couple of results in recent weeks, especially at home. And again, they're probably not out of the four, to be fair. Mathematically, not at all. They're 4 or 5 points adrift. So
the people in FQPL wouldn't be used to the travel. All the other NPL teams would be used to travelling because they've done it for a couple of years, whereas the FQPL 1 teams wouldn't be used to it at all.
Absolutely.
So it's completely different for them to get on a plane compared to a car. So that's probably something that's trapped a little bit of them when they do go up to Hokkaido.
Well, the two teams that have, I will have to check this. This is something I'm going to throw there as a stat, something I could maybe be quoted
so you heard it here first.
But the two teams who got results, at least off the top of my head, in Magpies this year at Mackay have been Strikers and Redlands.
So
both that have been there before, right? Who have done the travel. So Graham himself and Strikers have done it before. They know what they're doing. They did it last year. So,
It's also interesting. Redlands and Kapalaba were quite tight last year, but how both their seasons are at the moment. Kapalaba's not doing so well. Redlands are doing quite well. So. As well as Redlands have strengthened their team, but that's just there's a level difference.
It shows the disparity.
And
we've seen it in the Cup as well, to be fair. Look, we've seen it in the Australia Cup, Tash. I think it's really important to note as we go through. There are clear lines of delineation between each of the leagues. I mean, we had Thunder obviously come up against Lions and be beaten pretty strongly there. We've had a couple of Strikers against Lions as well. So
the other team that we had in there for the poll of who finishes higher out of the Strikers, Redlands and Magpies was Rochester Rovers. They've had an absolutely fantastic season. A big signing of Marek Madley, who's come in and scored a lot of goals, 14 in 10 games to the Golden Boot tally there. Rochester, a fantastic season so far. Do you reckon they'll be able to kick on and hold that promotion spot, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, again, they've started to make Underwood Park a bit of a fortress and get the results that they need to at home, as we saw on the weekend against South West Queensland. And they've recruited well. Marek, again, he's sort of gone there. He knew he had a task in front of him, that is to score goals. And the aim for Roadshow was to get into the NPL, where they think they should be. So, obviously, Yinka Kahinde's there as well, doing some really good things. Liam MacArthur at the back's been exceptional for them. He's a former Royal Youth player. Alex Warlow. They've had Matty Lugo, who's a former NPL keeper at Logan. Who's now
Tommy Carroll.
Well, he and Tommy Carroll. I mean, they're two NPL keepers, right? So they've got depth across the park. The one thing, as we've mentioned, is probably the disciplinary record's been a bit spotty this year. But look, they'll be in the top 4 now. Mathematically, they're strong enough now to stay in the top 4. I won't speculate as to where they finish, I guess, but they'll absolutely be there. They'll be in the top 4 and they'll be vying for it. And it's ultimately it's in their hands now, right? Mathematically, they've got a lead, so ultimately it's in their hands to do what they want to do.
And as Johnny McCain said when he came on the show a few weeks ago, he just wants to get some silverware down at the new clubhouse that they've got there. So that'll be their target.
Let's not forget they're one of only 2 clubs that are left in the round 7. What have we got? Round 7.
Round 7.
Who aren't NPL, but them and Sunshine Coast Fire. So.
The Golden Boot update ladder, is quite close. Marek leading the line with 14 goals. Guillaume Santana coming in second with 11. Geordie Farina on 10 there, so they're the 3 with double digits. And several after on 8 and 7 respectively. So it is quite tight there. Move on to the FQPL 1 Women's. let's just have a look at moving to the Golden Boot updates for these competitions moving forward. Kelly Purifoy, 27 in 10 is the
that's crazy.
is the total there.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if we have a look at again off the top of my head, I don't know how many Mitchie have scored, but I'd probably speculate it's in the early 30s, and she scored 27 of them. And that's what's so critical. And as we said earlier, they're winning 4-3. She's scoring 4.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the next person who's pushing for the Golden Boot is Abby on 9 from her 27, and they just versed each other, their teams last week or the week before. Kelly scored number 4 for
here's a little stat for you, just based on what you're saying again. So based on the 4 Golden Boots we've just shown, each of the Golden Boot winners is for the team that's running first.
Yep.
So look, here's an indication as to how Peninsula are playing, right? Peninsula don't have her in the top 5.
Well, the interesting thing is Kira Lee, she is their right back, so that is who is their
with 6 goals in 10 games.
So Peninsula are undefeated in the FQPL 1, and they don't have anyone in the top 3 or 4. And
so
their
they've
person
got
is their
a lot of
so everyone's scoring, right? Like they're playing a certain brand of football that's getting results.
Yep, 100%.
And just to touch upon before we move on, like in terms of who's going to be there now, I mean, we are talking Power, Pride. Mitchie have asserted themselves in the last fortnight to 3 weeks and pushed up into second
place.
And you've still got City hanging on there as well. So it'll be interesting. I think Power, as we've said mathematically, have probably
solidified that now.
Probably stamped their ticket, and they'll have to continue to have that consistency for the remainder of the season. Not to put any sort of jinx on them, but that second spot's still up for grabs.
Yeah, moving on to the FQPL2 men's, Teddy Watson leading the line for the league leaders, Surfers Paradise Apollo, 21 goals in 12 games. But hot on his heels is Alavo Santos from Coomera Colts with 20 goals in his 12 games.
Yeah, wow.
Huge.
That's a great pickup for Coomera.
Yeah. Do you know where he came from?
No.
Kingscliff.
Mighty
Wolves, mate. And you know what's crazy? He was playing left back for Kingscliff under Rossi Fennick there last year.
Wow.
Yeah, left back, left wing. So they've sort of pushed him into more of a floater position out left. He's still got a wicked left foot on him, but no, he's killed it for Coomera. Again, there's these players, right, who they've been picked for higher honours or gone to clubs that are higher up the pyramid, and have just gone exceptionally exceeded. Like the one we've used all year, you and I speak about regularly, is Pasquale.
Oh yeah.
Who we knew obviously he was probably better than an FQPL 1 standard, but he's arguably, every time I watch him, one of the top 2 or 3 players in the park.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So. Had another good game against Penn Power the other night. He set up one of the goals as well. So. But
we see that now, as I said, with Olavo and
Olavo's goals as well have been nothing short of spectacular.
He's always in your goals of the week.
Every second week. I believe he actually played in beach soccer as well.
He did. He certainly did. He had a team. Zoom boys.
Definitely, used to the bicycle kicks there and is scoring mad goals. Ali Russell doing bits there for Albany Creek, leading their line with 13 goals. He's third on the list there.
Doing Ali Russell things. He's won a few golden boots in the Brisbane Premier League before, so big body up front, big old number 9. Good off the head, good on the floor. So
100%. So. It's good to see as well, with just touching back to Coomera, that they picked up their first win in the FQPL 2 just a few weeks ago as well.
Well, they're now sitting 9th. Yeah, I checked the other day.
I think they've got a couple of wins now.
They've had a couple of wins, a draw. So, and that again shows that competition is so tight. From about 5th to 12th, wins can just move you like that. I mean, Virginia started the season, unfortunate for them, they started the season 2-0 and have now not been able to get a win since. They've got the draw against Surface. But again, it is such a close competition, that one.
And just finishing off with the Golden Boot update for the FQPL 2 women's, Riley Wallerspoon leading the line for UQFC with 12 goals in 6 games. 6 games? Fantastic start of the season for her. If she can keep that up, looking at a 20 plus goal season, so that'll be good. And Annalie have an entrant up there.
Yeah, Jamie Bellisson. She ended up being Golden Boot winner last year for the Brisbane Women's Premier League. Okay. So she's wasn't up until last year a noted goal scorer. Yep. It's more of a midfielder winger, but has a bit of pace to burn as well, and has banged a few up front. And on that list, we'll see Kim Abbott and Taringa have got 3 entrants who are sort of running away with the FQPL.
Sophie Bowler and M. Beavers all on 8 goals each. So sharing it around there at Taringa. It's nice.
I mean, UQ and Taringa are running away with the competition at the moment, and it shows on their goal scorings here as well. I mean, Bowler and M are both really great players who are playing in FQPL too, so I'm not surprised by both of them being in there.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's look at the last sort of thing on the agenda item for this episode. Just previewing will be tonight's on a Tuesday Australia Cup fixtures. Down to the final three in SEQ, final three fixtures in SEQ, looking for our 3 Queensland SEQ nominees. And Edge Hill and Magpies play each other on the 2nd of July up in Cairns. So, Dan, these 3 games looking ahead, Roadshow versus Penn Power, blockbuster of Brisbane-based clubs there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something that Power, given the premiership, might be slowly sort of eking away from them or getting away from them with Lions and Olympic up top there and Knights with a couple of games in hand. It's probably something they've set their focus and their sights on.
Going deep
the round of 32,
yeah.
And even just trying to make a late finals run in the NPL. So this is something they'll be up for. Roadshow, as we know, they'll want to do what City couldn't do last year and lead the FQPL, but then also try and make the national round. So that'll be an absolute blockbuster tonight at Underwood. And then, as we said, the Classico is the reverse there.
A repeat picture of the match last year, just at
correct.
Yeah, same venue and everything. Yeah.
And just obviously reverse from the Saturday where they played each other at Lions in the league. So Logan Lightning and Sunshine Coast Fire look probably 2 pretty unassuming that clubs that no one necessarily thought would maybe make it this far, and I think it's fantastic to see both of them get through playing a different style of football.
Well, Logan had a cup set, you'd probably say. Beating Olympic in the previous rounds.
Yep.
Second place Olympic and sort of third bottom in Logan. But yeah, if their focus really is on the cup, then power to them. That's
absolutely.
Hopefully they go deep. And Tash in the first of the Kappa Women's Super Cup quarterfinals gets underway with South United and Moreton Bay.
Yeah,
on Tuesday night.
Moreton Bay is sitting on 9th and South is sitting on 8th, so that's a bottom of the table clash there. Both sitting on 5 points. So. Again, being at South, they have their home ground advantage. So that will be a good game to watch, and whoever wins that gets to travel to versus the regional.
Yeah, either Clinton or Edge Hill. So a bit of a good away day for the winner there.
Something that you don't get to do very often. So it'll be a great team bonding experience. And
absolutely.
Seeing what the regional women's comp to our metro. So that'd be really good. Yeah, it's exciting to see.
Just going to touch on the Australia Cup again. We'll just go some players to watch for the 3 games that we've got. Tash, I'll start with you in the Classico. Brisbane City against Lions. Who are you looking at there?
Yeah, I mean, up front and defender battle, Matt Smith and Alex Fenechner. That'll be a good one to watch. He's got a lot of pace up there. Can Matt Smith keep it up?
Probably
got some
not. But I think he's going to be.
Bowlesy going to defend against him?
Yeah. I think that they're going to rely on Bowlesy and Matt Smith. Their know-how, their knowledge there. That's where it really comes to.
And covering each other as well.
Yeah.
If they put in a ball behind, he's going to get away from them. So then how are they going to defend that? And I'm sure that they've been training for this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They would have been planning for this for a while. So then and those 2 centre backs are great. So if he's going to have a tough night, I suppose, but that makes it more exciting for us to watch.
Maybe the result on the weekend was a red herring.
Reset for them, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Who knows? Dan, what about you for the Roadshow and Penn Power match up there?
Look, I'll probably go Liam MacArthur at the back for Roachdale's been critical this year. He's actually got a few goals as well. He's found himself on the score sheet, but he's been pretty tidy down back as well. As I said earlier in the show, a youth Raw player previously, and is actually quite vocal, quite a big presence for them as well. And probably the old dog, Greg Cheshire, who's been back after a few weeks away on a holiday. I think as well he might have even got married in recent weeks.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Greg.
Back from the honeymoon.
But Cheshire, he's crucial for them at the back as well, or playing midfield at the moment and pushing forward. For Power, Malachi Lob-Samira has been huge for them in recent weeks. Has played a number of years and played sort of 18s and 23s for them. Is a genuine starter every day of the week now for them. So they'll lock him in for the next little period, and he'll be crucial for them tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. I'll preview the Logan and Sunny Coast match, and I reckon a bit of a battle between 2 world-class keepers here. Not world-class, but hey, why not?
Class keepers. Queensland class keepers in Carlos Solidaire and Gerard Tyson. Tyson coming from Melbourne Victory just very recently and has had success in the Australia Cup. Victory, obviously, the winners at
the most recent
most recent winners. So he'll be immense for his team. And Carlos will the captain leads from the back and has a big job on his plate. Would love to see it a high scoring game, but I'm sure those two boys will both like to disagree with me there. But I think that's where the key will lie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about all for tonight. We've been here a while. We've talked for quite a lot.
The games have been played. We've been here that long.
Make sure, tune into streams on FQTV, the Australia Cup, Kappa Women's Super Cup, and all the stuff across the leagues. It's been great to cover such an entertaining first half of 2022, and I'm really looking forward to what the back end of 2022 gives us. Hopefully some of these chats are sort of proved wrong, and we have a few more upsets and things go all sorts of which way. So looking forward to it. So yeah.
Keen, mate. Thanks for having us. And you haven't asked about my jersey, but it's a Peruvian club team, just so you know. I was out in sympathy with Peru. The Socceroos have been there twice before. We know that against Iran and in '97 and Uruguay in '01. So look, Peru.
Yeah.
Better luck next time. But look, it's a tough pill to swallow to miss out on the World Cup. But
yeah. Well,
Socceroos for making it through as a team.
Getting well behind it. I don't think I've taken it off all week. So something to look out for in the coming day. Hopefully Wednesday morning, we'll be catching up with Kai Rolls from the Socceroos, man of the match against Peru, and also Larissa Crummer as well, who's on her recent recall into the Matilda squad. So stay tuned for those videos. They'll be on FUTV across our YouTube channel and Facebook, social media, all that good stuff. So make sure you check that out. Check out our website for any updates as well, and get out to the grounds and get around some football. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Cal.
See you, mate.
See ya.